Welcome to Leading Beyond Limits, the podcast where we explore the extraordinary journeys and insights of remarkable leaders who have pushed the boundaries of what's possible. Your host, Angel Radcliffe, who is a digital transformation leader, author, speaker, and financial educator, will lead each episode and dive deep into the stories, strategies, and philosophies that have empowered these exceptional individuals to lead, inspire, and achieve beyond the ordinary. We're about to embark on a journey of discovery and inspiration, and together, we'll learn what it takes to lead beyond limits. So grab your cape, or at least your favorite coffee mug, because we're about to unravel the extraordinary tales of trailblazers who've turned impossible into I'm possible. Let's get started.
What is the one story everyone in your company tells about, how things are done here when you aren't in the room?
Oh, yeah. That is the million-dollar question.
Right. Because, spoiler alert, it has absolutely nothing to do with your employee handbook.
Definitely not.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are setting aside the rapid-fire business tactics and the neat, actionable frameworks.
No 5-step checklist today.
Exactly.
Right.
We aren't here to optimize your calendar or, give you a hack for efficiency. Instead, we're holding a reflective space.
Just slowing down for a minute.
Yeah, slowing down to look at a profoundly weighty leadership scenario. And the central premise of this scenario is staggering in its simplicity, really. It just says, culture scales through stories.
Such a powerful idea.
It really is. So our mission today is to examine the intense and often totally hidden psychological tension that you, as a leader, face in the exact moments those culture-defining stories are forged.
Because that tension, that is the defining feature of real leadership. The scenario points out a really hard truth that we often try to engineer our way out of.
Yeah.
People do not remember policies. They remember legends.
Yeah, but we spend, thousands of hours and tens of thousands of dollars drafting these comprehensive compliance protocols.
Oh, easily. Outlining core values on acrylic plaques, putting them on the wall.
Generating endless PDFs to safely categorize every possible behavior.
Right. And we do this because it provides an illusion of safety. We desperately want our organizations to be predictable,
Like clean code, input the rules, output the behavior.
Exactly. But the reality is, the moment real pressure is applied, that linear code just throws errors everywhere.
Right. The policy breaks down. Because, if you think about it, a policy is essentially an architect's blueprint.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's flawless on paper. It dictates where every load-bearing wall should go, and it perfectly mitigates the risk of the building collapsing under normal, everyday conditions.
Keyword being normal.
Right. Everyday conditions. But a legend. The legend is the series of split-second, high-stakes decisions the construction foreman has to make when the building actually catches fire.
Oh, wow.
And the blueprint is practically useless in that specific moment.
Totally useless. You're not checking the blueprint while the fire alarms are blaring.
Right. The culture of that crew moving forward is entirely defined by what the foreman does while the smoke is filling the room. But let me push back a little. Aren't policies essential for mitigating risk?
Oh, sure.
Why do we naturally gravitate away from them when we're recalling a company's culture?
Well, let's look at the actual mechanism behind why that happens.
Okay.
Because under normal conditions, our brains can easily handle the cognitive load of abstract rules and bulleted lists.
Okay.
But when the metaphorical fire breaks out, say, a PR crisis or a sudden market crash or even a catastrophic server failure, human physiology actually changes.
Like a physical response.
What? Yeah, there is a literal spike in cortisol. Executive function narrows. In those high-stress environments, people lose the capacity to recall page 42 of the compliance handbook.
Oh, right, because they're in panic mode.
Exactly. Their brains revert to a much older survival mechanism, which is narrative and social imitation.
Wow, social imitation. So they look around to see what everyone else is doing.
Specifically, they look at the leader. They stop looking at the rules, and they start tracking the leader's behavior.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, they're looking for a story to encode, a mental rehearsal of how to survive this new, completely ambiguous threat.
So culture isn't defined by the baseline rules at all.
Not at all.
It's defined by how leadership behaves when those rules are suddenly inadequate. And the scenario highlights that these hallway legends are almost always born from friction.
Right. They aren't about routine HR processes. Nobody tells stories about those.
No. The legends are narratives of how the team handled a brutal crisis, or how they saved a betrayed customer, or, and this is a big one, how they chose integrity over a massive profit margin.
Yes. And, you know, integrity over profit is one of those phrases that sounds incredibly noble in hindsight.
Oh, yeah, like when a leader is telling that story 5 years later on a conference stage, it plays as a huge triumph.
Everybody applauds. But this scenario forces us to look at the crucible of that hero story in the present tense.
Which is a whole different ballgame.
Totally. Because in the present tense, choosing integrity over profit is terrifying. It is a moment of acute professional jeopardy.
Let's ground this in a hard business reality, because I think we've all seen this play out.
Definitely.
Imagine you have a highly lucrative deal on the table. It's going to make your quarter, maybe even your entire year.
Right, the stakes are huge.
But at the 11th hour, you discover the partner operates unethically. Or maybe it's an internal issue. Say you have a top-performing VP who brings in millions.
What creates a profoundly toxic environment for the junior staff? We've all seen that guy.
Yes, exactly. And there's always this agonizing pause before a leader makes a move in these situations. The room gets quiet, the decision is delayed, and the assumption is usually that the leader is, waiting for more data, running the numbers one more time.
Trying to find a clever loophole, maybe.
Right. But when a leader hesitates to handle the crisis or choose integrity over a lucrative deal, what is really happening in that silence?
Well, that assumption of an information deficit is the most common misinterpretation of leadership hesitation.
Okay, so it's not about the data.
No. We think, oh, if they just had a clearer spreadsheet, they would act. But more often than not, the leader knows exactly what the right call is.
They already know.
Yeah. The hesitation is born out of a sudden, visceral dread of exposure.
Ah, the realization of accountability.
Exactly.
Because if you fire that toxic rainmaker VP to protect your junior staff, there is no generic HR policy that is going to shield you from the board's wrath when you miss your revenue targets next quarter.
None. You are stepping entirely outside the safety net of business as usual.
Right. The risk is no longer distributed across a corporate framework. It rests entirely on your shoulders.
You are absorbing the financial hit, and you're absorbing the reputational risk.
It's all on you.
Yeah, and in that agonizing pause, the leader is feeling the raw physical weight of that vulnerability. It's that chilling realization that if they make the hard call, they stand alone.
They have to walk into the boardroom and personally own the consequences of a diminished bottom line.
Right. The hero story requires the leader to completely forfeit the comfort of plausible deniability.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Because if I'm listening to this, the sheer weight of that exposure feels, honestly, paralyzing.
It is paralyzing.
Knowing that every murky, high-stakes decision I make in a state of uncertainty will become a permanent hallway legend. It practically incentivizes leaders to freeze.
Yeah.
It practically begs leaders to form endless steering committees or hire outside consultants just to dilute the blame.
Oh.
I mean, if my hesitation or my potential failure is going to be written into the company lore, it feels immensely safer to just never be the sole author of the story. How does a leader avoid freezing up completely?
It's so true. It
Yeah.
absolutely incentivizes that behavior.
Right.
That's the natural psychological defense mechanism against extreme visibility, right?
Right, hide.
Exactly. Hide in a crowd, defer to a committee, point to a vague external factor. But the core argument of this scenario is that you cannot opt out of the narrative.
You're always in it.
Always. A committee is still a decision. Deferring to a consultant is still an action. And that action becomes its own legend.
Ah.
So the hallway story simply becomes, when things get tough here, our leadership hides behind bureaucracy.
Oh, wow. So you haven't escaped the legend at all.
No, you haven't escaped it. You have just authored a legend of cowardice.
That is brutal. But it's true. So the true paradox of leadership is this intense isolation colliding with hypervisibility.
Right.
You're sitting alone in your office, plagued by incomplete certainty, feeling the raw exposure of a decision that could literally cost you your job.
Feeling completely isolated.
Yeah. Yet the moment you make that intensely private choice, it instantly scales outward.
It's everywhere.
It echoes through the Slack channels, the post-meeting coffee chats, the encrypted text messages between employees.
It becomes the new mythology of the firm.
The mythology, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The tone of your voice when you handled that vendor, the specific words you used when you addressed the team after a failure, all of that data is collected,
Amplified.
amplified, and distributed by the workforce to define the actual living boundaries of what is acceptable.
That is a heavy burden.
It is. But this brings us to a critical reframing of what responsibility actually means.
Yeah.
Because we often operate under the false assumption that responsibility means having all the correct answers in advance.
Which is an impossible standard.
Completely impossible.
If you wait until you have a flawless, mathematically guaranteed outcome, you aren't leading. You're just doing basic arithmetic.
That's a great way to put it. True responsibility shows up most vividly when certainty is incomplete.
In the gray areas.
Right. If we look closely at the mechanics of these hallway legends, the story isn't actually about the leader possessing a crystal ball.
No one expects you to predict the future.
Right? The employees telling the story don't expect perfection. The legend is almost always about the leader's presence and composure while navigating the unknown.
That is a crucial distinction. It's not just the outcome of the decision, it's the posture of the leader making it.
The presence.
Yeah, the presence. Because the legendary stories from my own career were never about a CEO who perfectly predicted a market shift.
Same here.
The stories that stuck with me were always along the lines of the market collapsed, our biggest client pulled out, nobody knew how we were going to make payroll.
Total chaos.
Right. But the CEO stood up, owned the ambiguity, didn't panic, and made a hard call based on our stated values.
They didn't panic, and they didn't hide.
Right.
The paralysis you mentioned earlier comes from the paralyzing belief that you need to author a flawless story where everyone wins and profits soar.
Or it never happens.
Never. You don't need a flawless story. You just need to author an honest one. You have to maintain your presence in the dark.
Which brings us to how leaders actually function carrying this weight day to day.
Yeah.
We are fundamentally talking about the tension of moving forward with partial clarity.
Always partial clarity.
Because waiting for 100% certainty is an abdication of leadership.
It really is.
It's like driving at night.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Right, because your headlights only show you the next 200 feet of road.
You can't see the destination.
No, but you can make the entire journey that way. You don't just pull over and refuse to move until the sun comes up. You have to trust your judgment within the visibility you actually have.
That is exactly it. You trust your judgment to navigate what you can see. Because in business, the sun never comes up.
Right. The fog never lifts.
Exactly. You will never have perfect information about market volatility or competitor innovations or even the internal emotional state of your own executive team.
It's just a constant state of navigating the headlights.
Yeah. Judgment, presence, and self-trust. Those are the only viable tools in the gray areas where policies simply cannot reach.
And if you just sit there and refuse to drive?
If you refuse to move until you have complete visibility, the story your employees tell won't be about your strategic patience.
Right.
It'll be about your inability to act when it mattered most.
Wow. Which connects back to the ultimate barometer posed by the scenario.
Yeah.
Does that story make you proud?
That's the real test.
It isn't asking if the story was highly profitable.
Oh.
It isn't asking if the story was completely devoid of pain or setbacks.
Because a proud legend often involves a significant loss.
Right.
Sometimes choosing integrity means the quarterly numbers take a brutal hit, and the ensuing months are just a grind.
Yeah, sometimes the crisis still leaves scars on the organization.
It does. But the barometer of self-trust is whether, despite the incomplete data and the heavy exposure, you acted in alignment with what you claim to value.
Did you step into the murky waters?
Yes. Or did you defer to a meaningless, dusty policy in a drawer just to save face?
Did you own the visibility you had?
Exactly.
Because when the echoes of that decision travel down the hallways when you aren't there, a proud legend reinforces a culture of courage rather than a culture of mere compliance.
It signals to every single employee that when the blueprint fails, they can trust the foreman.
That is the most difficult, emotionally taxing, and vital work of leadership. Bridging the gap between a written rule and a lived reality.
It's the only way culture actually scales.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, we really want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We aren't here to offer a neat conclusion or a prescriptive checklist.
No tidy bows here.
Right. This is about quiet reflection as you look at your own professional landscape.
Just a deliberate pause.
Think about the biggest leadership tension you are facing right now. The decision sitting heavy on your desk.
The one keeping you up at night?
Yeah, the one causing that agonizing silence, the one where you feel the distinct, uncomfortable weight of exposure.
We all have one.
What if that discomfort isn't a signal that you need another data set or a new consultant or another policy to hide behind?
What if it's just the work?
Exactly. What if it is simply the heavy, natural friction of your next great hallway legend being written?
In the absence of total certainty, what story will you choose to author?
Such a powerful question. Well, thank you for taking the time to explore these depths with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining the deep dive. Remember, the blueprint might keep the building up under normal conditions, but when the fire starts, everyone is looking at you. Stay present, trust your judgment, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you for tuning into another inspiring episode of Leading Beyond Limits. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to hear more from our incredible guests, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us. And if you have a remarkable leader in mind who you'd like to hear on our show or any questions and comments, feel free to reach out to us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Remember, leadership knows no bounds, and with the right insights and determination, you too can lead beyond limits. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars and leading with purpose.